नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 We will chant from 65, even though we have done that. We'll just chant it one more time. No, we haven't done 65. 64 we did. We'll start from 65. Prasade sarvadukhanam hanirasyopajayate prasannachetaso hyashu buddhih paryavatishthate नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. These two go together. 65 and 66, they go together. Okay. And so here in 65, in 64, we were introduced one new word in a new way. Prasadam adhigacchati. Ragadvesha viyuktaihi vishayan indriyaishcharan Atmavashyaihi vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. We saw that. Prasadam adhigacchati means that here prasada is not what you get at the temple, it is tranquility. Prasada is having a tranquil mind, even though the senses function. Normally, it's not that you have to go to a mountain top and then having gone to the mountain top, sit there and then be away, totally away from all the people and all the things that you might get tempted by. Because that is just what? That is just a fantasy. Because that is not overcoming the raga dveshas. What is that? That is suppressing the raga dveshas. And anything that is suppressed, repressed, if the raga, dveshas are suppressed and repressed, the two things happen. First, one gets depressed because of being suppressed and repressed. And then second thing, what is the second thing that happens? Second thing that happens is that whatever is suppressed comes out in double, triple quantity, much more difficult to deal with afterwards. Very, very difficult to deal with. Comes out repressed. That which is repressed comes out. It's just like a skin rash. So you have a rash, it is burning, it is itching, it is causing a lot of trouble. So you put some cream on it, and then as soon as you stop putting the cream, if the internal issues are not taken care of, then it comes out in a vengeance. And so like that, the raga dveshas come out in a vengeance. So here, it's not the suppression here, it is viyukta. Viyukta means the one who has resolved, the one who is free, relatively speaking, from all kinds of attractions, all kinds of revulsions, the one who is relatively having a tranquil mind. And then so that person, even though the person is in the world, the person is not of the world, we were told, the person is able to just function without getting attracted to things left, right, and center. Then the person is called Atmavashyah. And then because of this Atma Vasha, then what happens? Meaning the one who has a say over the ways of the mind. Atma here means the Antahkarana. Then Vidheyatma, we saw another compound. Vidheyatma means Yadricha, like the person who commands their, um, you know, who commands their Atma. So the one whose Atma here is Antahkarana. So the one who has a say over their own Antahkarana. Atmanaha Vashyani Vashibhutani Taihi Atmavashyaihi. Bhashya gives all this beautiful. Ichhataha Vidheyaha Atma Yasya. So Ichhataha Vidheyaha means Ichhataha. Means the person who desiring moksha, desiring liberation from raga dveshas and samsara, has brought these under one's own sway. One is not swayed by them, and they command an antahkarana, acts according to their will, not the will of the raga dvesha. See, there's a big difference. Usually the day unfolds according to ragadveshas. How does the day unfold? The day unfolds like this. Okay, did I get my wishes fulfilled in the morning? No, big cross. And then, did I get my wishes fulfilled in the afternoon? Little bit. Did I get my wishes fulfilled in the evening? I don't know. It is still unfolding. Let's wait and see. Did I get my wishes fulfilled at night? Not at all. And so that is what classifies in one's mind as I am having a bad day. Day is not good or bad. Day cannot be either good or bad. How can the day be good? The day is doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. So, what constitutes a good day? A good day is when all my ragas and all my dveshas are fulfilled. So, dveshas means things I don't want are kept away, and ragas means the things that I do want are coming. They and so therefore it classifies as good. And the day that is challenging, that I am not able to fulfill the raga dveshas, that classifies as a bad day. A really, really bad day. So now this is something which is important to understand. And so here the person has, there are no good days, there are no bad days. There are no good days or bad days because the person has understood this is just a play of raga dvesha. This is a play of raga and dvesha. Raga dvesha is it's the play of my likes and dislikes, all kinds of fancies and fascinations, all kinds of hatred for various things. And so what happens? They keep on expressing themselves in the functions of the mind and in the functions of the sense organs, because I don't direct the sense organs, the raga and the dveshas take over. It's almost like the antahkarana has been hacked by the raga dveshas. So, we talk about the computer and all being hacked. The antahkarana has been hacked. And in this hacking, what happens? There is somebody else running the script, running the narrative of the raga dveshas. I am no longer in charge. Some bot, has bought off the sense organs and is controlling my mind, my actions, and my sense organs. That's not fair. I want them back. So, and these verses 64 to 67 actually are the process of reclaiming. And the Bhagavad Gita becomes, what does the Bhagavad Gita become? The Bhagavad Gita becomes an antiviral software applying which what happens? when the Bhagavad Gita becomes an antiviral software, applying which there is a cessation. There is a cessation of all kinds of controlling of the sense organs, etc., by the ragadveshas. So the antiviral software, what does it do? It kills all the things affecting the computer, and then restores it back to its state. And that's exactly the Bhagavad Gita does. You run the Bhagavad Gita software once a week, and then what happens? And then it is wiped off clean. All the things are wiped off clean. All the irritants, all the irritating ragadveshas, and then what happens? There will be a very easy easy access to the heart, to the mind. Heart means antakarana. Otherwise, one doesn't even know who one is, even on the level of the personality. One doesn't know. One keeps on being driven. I hate this. I have to have this. I don't want this. I have to keep this at bay. The whole life is just gone like this. What a travesty. Imagine. No time to stand and stare, no time to smell the flowers, no time to look at things objectively, no time to look at what is there in front of you. No time at all. And what happens is that there is a feeling of being constantly preoccupied, preoccupied totally and constantly. And then what happens is exactly what happens is that one is not available. One is not available for anything, including the antiviral software. One is not available. And so here, we were introduced to the word prasada. Prasada here is not what you get at the temple, laddus, etc. Prasada here is what happens to the heart when you get the laddu. That is prasada here. So prasada buddhi is a cheerful buddhi, is a buddhi that is in itself happy. And then, we saw that when there is prasada, sarva dukkhanam hanihi upajayate. 65 said, sarva dukkhanam hanihi. The prasada is a weed killer. Prasada buddhi, a tranquil antahkarana, a peaceful antahkarana is a weed killer of all the weeds known as raga dveshas. You think you have taken care of them, then again they come back. They grow anywhere, even when there is no water. Even if you don't water them, they seem to grow. And then that is how it is. And very soon the lawn is full of dandelions, and very little grass, mostly dandelions. At this point you give up and let the neighbor come and mow the lawn, okay, because you're tired of it. You just don't feel like you can do anything. And so therefore here the tranquil mind is important, because the person who enjoys tranquility, we saw in the last ones, that is the person who is available for moksha, available to become a mumukshu. And then prasanna chetasaha is prasada buddhi. So the one endowed with a calm mind, ashu, quickly the intellect follows. When the antahkarana is steady, the intellect follows, the whole mind is tranquil, etc. So the mind is tranquil, the buddhi also quickly sees the reason and says, yes, yes, I have to do this. I have to follow suit. The buddhi also doesn't get into extra reasoning and etc. etc. So shighram, ashu, shighram, quickly, buddhihi paryavatishthate. And so this is the thing. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi upajayate. Upajayate is born. So when the mind is tranquil, the death of all the raga dveshas take place naturally. They die a sad death and leaving you happy. They die a sad death, sad for them, but happy for you. Because now you are viyukta, you are separated from them. You don't think I am as good as the raga and the dvesha. You don't think, and so you are separated from them. You watch them die away, and the prasada buddhi helps them to just die away. And he says, quickly, when the mind is with you, the buddhi also sees the reason and follows. So the cessation of all miseries, sarva dukkhanam, very interesting, sarva dukkhanam, all miseries, all the sorrows, the cessation happens, and then when the mind is, when the sadness is gone, the intellect becomes steady and the mind becomes tranquil. भाष्य प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानाम् आध्यात्मिकादीनां हानिः विनाशः अस्य यतेः उपजायते. Adi Shankara does not miss a beat. Even if we might forget something, he will not forget. Sarva Dukkhanam is written, correct? Sarva Dukkha means what? All the Dukkhas. And then all the Dukkhas, instead of listing all the Dukkhas, Adi Shankara goes straight to the Shastra's version of all. And what is all? All the sadness? All the sadness means sadness arising from the three sources. So, what are the three sources? Adhidaivika, Adhibhautika, things over which you have absolutely zero control. And what is that? Things over which you have no control is God made. God made sources of sorrow. Such as what? God made sources of sorrow means like earthquake and volcano and things like that. Things you have no control over. Adhibhautika means things arising from your, oh, your immediate surroundings. When there are things that arise from your own immediate surroundings, that is called Adhi Bhautika. Such as you love the classes, but you don't like something. You don't like the Zoom background. That is from from one's surrounding. Oh, I wanted that other background which was there the other day, and then so I'm not going to be able to pay attention to the classes because this background is no fun. So like this, this is the problem. So then, so that is the Adi Bhautika, an example of Adi Bhautika. Adi Bhautika, then Adhyatmika. Adhyatmika means centered on yourself. If I can let you in on a little secret, there is no Adi Daivika, there is no Adi Bhautika. Because all this is filtered through Adhyatmika only. Really speaking, what can you do about an earthquake? Nothing. And so if the mind is tranquil, you can say, okay, maybe I can donate to that area, maybe I can help a few people, but that's about it. I can What can I do? I can do what I can do. I can pray, I can do this, I can do that, I can do all this. But then what can I not do? What is of no use to do? Sit and cry and then take on the whole world's pains and sorrows and get affected. That is Adhi Daivika, which has converted into Adhyatmika. There is a semblance of, there is a will there. There is a will there, or rather I should say there is a won't there, because you won't you won't have a say over the ways of the raga and therefore you are in sorrow. One is in sorrow. Why? One is in sorrow because of the fact that there is pain there, and one's own personal pain, puts, you paint the adhidaivika also in and convert it into your own personal pain. You paint the adhibhautika and convert it into your own personal pain. If there is pain, and then you justify it by saying, look, the world is going to the dogs, that's not a good justification. Does that mean the world is not going to the dogs? I didn't say that. That's not the point. Whether the world is going to the dogs or not is not the point. There is a way in which I internalize. I internalize what is going on. And for that internalization, there is a hook here that hooks on to every single thing that comes across. That inner pain, if I do not take care of, then I'm useless as an activist. If one wants to be an activist, take care of that inner pain first. Then you can do a lot of good to the world. But even if the activism is spurred from inner pain, it's still okay, because then you have to take care of that inner pain in order to be of use to the world as an activist. Otherwise, you become a rabid, some kind of a person who is keeping on upset and angry and sad and sorrowful. And that sorrow is painted on every situation. Adhibhautika situation, adhidaivika situation, and then all you see is your pain, and it is justified by pointing the finger and saying, it is this person's problem, it is that situation, it is these notions, it's that ideology, and that is what is causing me pain. That is a story which we are telling ourselves, which keeps us in a constantly weak position of victimization. The Bhagavad Gita is asking you to reclaim your agency in the most sacred way possible. Reclaim your agency. Very interesting. Reclaim is a very interesting and a lovely paradox. Reclaim your agency. Take responsibility. Take accountability for your pain and your sorrow. Affect the way you see the world, the way you see people around you, the way you even see Bhagavan, God. This is exactly where the responsibility has to be taken. But instead, it seems easy. It seems kind of easy to do what? To just blame. To just say, this is why I don't have prasada buddhi. I don't have prasada buddhi because I have you in my life. If you were not there in my life, prasada buddhi would definitely come. This is a story. It's a perspective. Perspective. It is not an objective perspective at all. Subjective perspective. It's a total story, and it's a false narrative. It's a totally false narrative. One is conducting all affairs and thinking of oneself as some person who is completely targeted by the world. And therefore, in the Bhashya, he does Adi Shankara, even though Adi Daivika comes first. Notice carefully how he says Adhyatmika Adi, Adhyatmika, etc. He doesn't say Adi Daivika, because that actually he should say Adi Daivika Adi. But he knows it's Adhyatmika that you can take care of. That is what has to be taken care of. That is the big culprit over here. The sorrows centered on the self. The pain that is there, the inner pain has to be, it is spurred from early childhood. And that pain, that neglect, etc., is hooking on to various things in the universe, and creating havoc. And so adhyatmikadinam hanihi vinashah, destruction, asya yatehe upajayate. So when there is a tranquil mind, see, there is another paradox. When there is a tranquil mind, all the adhyatmika and the personal pains and sorrows, there is a cessation of that. And then, until you get a tranquil mind, this will not go. Ragadveshas won't go. And then, so then, which is, it is like a catch 22. Which one will come first? Removal of ragadveshas definitely comes first. Removal of ragadveshas and management of is what accounts for a tranquil mind. And then in the tranquility further, then all the sorrows which are caused by the ragadveshas to begin with are totally killed. A tranquil mind. And then further he says, Kimcha swasthana antakaranasya. Very interesting. Swasthana antakaranaha. So, prasanna chetasaha. So, the one who is of a cheerful heart is called prasanna chetasaha. Prasanna chetas. So, for this person, sixth case, prasanna chetasaha. And then, what is this person? Adi Shankara defines that person, her or him, as swasthana, swastha, swasthanta, swastha antakaranaha. Swastha, yeah, not swasthana, swastha antakaranaha. In fact, we have the word swastha, swasthya, which means health. It is normally translated as health. So, do you have swasthya? Do you have health? Health actually is defined in Ayurveda and Vedanta Shastra as the one who is with oneself, where the mind is not frittered away, given away to various fancies, where the heart is not always, what is the heart not doing? The heart is not always lamenting and taking stock of all kinds of problems. The heart is not taking stock of all kinds of problems all the time. Taking stock who has to be who has to be revenged, who has to be avenged. How should I go about this? How should I get my 2 cents in this situation? This is what the heart is always plotting, planning, trying. And then that trying is of no use here. No use at all. That trying is not going to help at all. Why? Because there is pain. And that pain is to be taken care of. So the well-being, swasthya in Ayurveda means the one who has the antakarana with oneself. Swa, oneself, stha, staying. So when you stay with yourself, come on, what do you mean when I stay with myself? Stay with yourself. That is the idea. When you stay with yourself, wonderful things can happen. But I'm always staying with myself. It's not that I have gone here or there. Yes, one has already left. And this is what happens. Even in Vedanta class, some thought comes and then the person starts to look away and has a glazed look in the eyes. Suddenly, something else came. That's what it is. In meditation, we are all too familiar with this. Om Namah. So now I'm going to say Om Namah Shivaya. What is the first thought? Om Namah Shivaya. Second thought, Om Namah Shivaya. Third thought, not Om Namah Shivaya. What is the third thought? Is anything happening? How long have I meditated? And then again, you have to bring the mind back. Bring the mind back repeatedly. Abhyasa. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. It is said. Abhyasa. Abhyasa and vairagya. So, abhyasa and vairagya, and so this abhyasa means repeated and loving practice, compassionate practice coming out of self-love. Tranquility cannot happen without self-love. That is for sure. For tranquility to happen, self-love must be cultivated through yoga and other sadhanas. Self-love, self-approval, and then only the tranquility comes. Self-confidence comes, tranquility comes. And raga dveshas are managed after self-love comes, and then, or at the same time, and then it is tranquility or peace of mind comes. But here the word swastha means the one whose antahkarana is with him or her, with himself or herself. Swastha antahkaranaha. So swasmin eva tishtati swastha. So swastha antahkaranah yasya sah swastha antahkaranah. So then swasmin tishtati. Sve mahimni tishtati, the one whose antahkarana, whose heart, mind, ego, etc. resolves into its own glory. And even if the person is studying and the glory is yet to be discovered, one's own glory, it is still happy being itself. You see such people all the time, just content. Pujya Swamiji used to narrate the story of a village simpleton in his own village in Manjakudi. And what would this person do? Nothing much. He was retired and he was just, going about his days. And and everybody thought he was a little bit of an idiot or a simpleton. And his main form of indulgence was to buy a day-long bus pass. And in those days, it used to be 1 rupee. And he used to take the day bus pass for 1 rupee, sit in the back of the bus because he didn't want to be disturbed by people climbing in, climbing out, etc. And so he sit in the back of the bus near the window. And and he had a kudubi, he had a little shikha, and he used to tie it up, but then here he used to let it loose, put his head out of the window, feel the wind, and wave to all the people every day. Not every day, but whenever he could indulge in it. Maybe once a week, twice a week. The people got used to seeing him in the bus, and the children got used to waving to him on their either coming from school or going to school, and then everybody. He was just like that, very easy. And people, and he was not very rich. He was just a poor person. I think he was a school teacher. In those days, the school teachers were paid very, very badly. And then he retired. And everybody thought he's an idiot. And everybody said, how could he have been a school teacher? What does he know? And then he was a school teacher in some other place. And then he came here to settle down. So people just wondered about whether he was he was a little bit that's what they thought. But when he passed away, one day he just simply died, and then all the people from this village, and all the people from his village, and all the people from the village where he had worked, 3 village full of people came to honor him. And at his memorial, they all said he was just the most contented person. He never asked anybody for anything. And whatever anybody gave him, he accepted happily, never disturbed anybody. And that kind of a tranquility to command, so it's not a simple thing. But one can cultivate that, and that is the person with swastha antakarana. And then when that happens, when the heart is happy, the buddhi follows, because the buddhi loves how you feel. The buddhi loves a tranquil mind, and the buddhi says, okay, I'm with you. If it involves letting go of a few raga dveshas, no problem. There is much more premium to enjoying a heart that is tranquil, and I'm going to do that. And then buddhi shigram Paryavatishthate means starts to follows suit. And Paryavatishthate is pervades. The word the pari plus ava. Ava actually is also a verb. Ava ava samrakshane. So here, even though he's using it as a prefix here, avatishthate. Still, pari plus ava plus tishthate, we cannot but admire the little pun here that Adi Shankara has stuck. Avati rakshati. That ava is the root of the word om. So here, the buddhi protects. The buddhi protects the heart now. The buddhi is on board, and the buddhi protects, like war, because he was right in front. And similarly, the buddhi is right in front, and it protects. And then what is the tranquil buddhi protects from further raga dvesha onslaught, and the tranquil buddhi, pari means pervades. Pari means pervades. And then Adi Shankara gives a lovely metaphor. Akasham iva pari samantat avatishthate. Akasham iva. Just like the sky pervades the whole world, the sky pervades the whole of the earth. Wherever you look, you see is not. Sky, 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 everywhere sky. And so the sky pervades and as though has a protective way in which it protects the atmosphere and everything like that. So the sky is something which is very beautiful, and it pervades. And so similarly, the buddhi pervades like the sky. Asamantat, from this corner of the antakarana to that corner of the antakarana, atmasvarupena. How does it pervade? By abiding in itself. By abiding in the truth of oneself. Nishchali bhavati. It's not going anywhere. It's not getting distracted. It's not giving birth to more raga dveshas. It's not plotting somebody's destruction. It's not feeling bad about itself. Nothing. And then, very nice thing. And then what happens? The antakarana is calm, and then it becomes steady and spreads itself like akasha, remaining in the equilibrium of the truth of oneself. And it presents itself as the very Atma. So there is no difference between the Atma and the Buddhi. Usually there is a big chasm between the buddhi and the atma. What is the chasm? The chasm is this, that, oh, the buddhi is somewhere and the truth of the atma is something else. Here the buddhi is on board along with the truth of the atma, and then it's all just one. So then, giving the concluding this verse, he says, Evam prasanna chetasaha avasthita buddhehe kritakrityata. Kritakrityata, very important word and something that will repeat itself in the Bhashya, in the Bhagavad Gita. So may as well get used to that word. What is the word? Kritam, krityam, sarvam, kritam. Yena, krityam. things that need to be done. Kritam, already done. So the person accomplished in self-knowledge is called kritakrityaha. Kritam, krityam, kritam, sarvam, yena. By whom all the things to be taken care of and all the things to be accomplished has already been done. How? By accomplishing the truth of the self as Brahman. Brahman being all, understanding Brahman, you know you are all. And there is nothing more to be done. The purpose of life has been achieved. Kritakrityaha. Who can say that? Nobody can say that. Nobody can say I am Kritakritya. That's why everybody has a list. And even when one is elderly and tottering, there is a what is called bucket list. Bucket list means things I want to do before I kick the bucket. That is why it is called bucket list. Kick the bucket means metaphorical way of saying bye bye, tata. So permanent bye bye. Okay, yeah, and so so bucket list also they will have. No Hindu should have a bucket list. Why? Because we have Punarjanma. Fantastic. So you can say, all right, whatever I haven't accomplished, there is always a next life. I can do that. In fact, it gives a lot of solace. So, as you grow into the Bhagavad Gita, as you take more and more classes, and as you become clearer, then you will not plan for a next life. Why? Because you know that the only thing to do before kicking the bucket is to get this knowledge. Antakalepi mam smaran muktva kalevaram. Te prayanti madbhavam. It's the promise of the Bhagavad Gita in the 8th chapter, and also in this chapter towards the end we will see. So, what is the promise here of Lord Krishna? Even if you gain this knowledge in the last minute of the life, somebody is on the deathbed and they have studied Bhagavad Gita, but somehow it never really clicked. And then suddenly it clicked. In between the morphine delirium, suddenly it clicked. Ha! I am Brahman. Died. And then what happened? Immediately one is released. Even in the last minute, one is released. This is, so what to talk of, being of young age, being of sound mind, having the ability to sit and listen, what to talk of all the people. Amazing it is. And so therefore this power is this ability to say all my raga and dveshas are fulfilled. How can all the raga and dvesha be fulfilled? It is fulfilled because all the wants and desires are a spin-off from the want that has never been addressed. What is that? I want to be free of raga dveshas. And then you say, come over to this side, come over to the Bhagavad Gita side. And then the Bhagavad Gita, what does it say? The Bhagavad Gita says, you are hello. It taps you on the shoulder and says, hello, you are already free of raga, you are already free of dvesha. And understanding this, you are free of all wants. No wants are there because this is the only thing you want. The only thing you want is to be a non-wanting person. And the Shastra reveals the truth of you as Purna, totally fulfilled, Tushta, complete, and limitless. So what is there to want? The more and more the clarity comes, with the growing clarity and the growing cheerfulness, the whole world becomes a television show, a reality television show with numerous channels. If you get bored of looking at one person, you can look at another person, and then you can just laugh, you can just feel happy, because the whole thing is a show. Even you coming as a student, and where is the guru looking for the teacher? That is also a show. Adhihi bhagavo brahma, and let me study with you. That is also a show. And all that is there is this is this satyam jnanam anantam brahma, this brahman knowing which sarvan kaman samashnute, all the desires are fulfilled in one stroke, because this is really the only desire. This is the only desire to fulfill before one gets a stroke. So in one full fell swoop, all the desires are fulfilled. And then it says, avasthita buddhehe prasanna chetasah kritakrityata. Avasthita buddhehe, the one whose buddhi is in equilibrium. And then what is that? Kritakrityata. Kritakrityata means this status of not wanting anything, the status of feeling fulfilled and feeling that one has achieved their life's dream. So this is, and there is a causal connection here. Prasanna chetasaha kritakrityata. So the one who is equipped with a tranquil mind, with a settled intellect, alone can aspire this kritakrityata. Alone can aspire the fruit of this knowledge, which reveals that you are the whole. And all that you want is to no longer be wanting. That is what you want. And in the wake of this knowledge, all the desires are as good as fulfilled. And so, yataha, because of this fact, therefore, tasmat, ragadvesha viyuktaihi indrihi. So through the sense organs which have been cleaned of the hackers of raga and dveshas, cleaned of the viruses of raga and dveshas, shastra viruddheshu avarjaniyeshu yuktah samacharet. Shastra viruddheshu avarjaniyeshu samacharet means, so then a person samacharet means the one who is a sadhaka is being addressed here. Samacharet, may one conduct oneself. How should one conduct oneself? With the indriyaihi ragadvesha viyuktaihi, with the sense organs devoid of strong preferences and prejudices and objects of raga dveshas. And then shastra viruddheshu avarjaniyeshu. And so then such indulges in only those kinds of sensory, what should I say, sense organs, objects of the sense organs that are not prohibited by the Shastra. So that we know they avoid things that are prohibited by the Shastra, such as things that belong to somebody else. You don't covet. Ma gridhaha kasya svidhanam. Where is this? Ishavasya Upanishad. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Bhunjitha ma gridhaha kasya svidhanam. Don't covet other people's things and protect the self by giving it up, by giving up everything. That is the idea. Protect the self by renouncing all the objects of the raga dveshas, and don't go after other people's things, things that belong to other people, people that belong to other people. That is the thing. And so therefore, the so raga dvesha, so the indriyas that have been cleaned off of raga dvesha do not do not indulge in the things that shastra aviruddheshu, and do not indulge in the things that are prohibited by the shastras. So only those things in which are which have been permitted by the shastras, such a person who is together, yuktaha, together, who is collected, samacharet iti vakyarthaha, that is the idea. And then introducing the next verse, Adi Shankara says, Sa iyam prasannata stuyate. This tranquility is now praised. The tranquility that has been explained in verses 64 and 65 is going to be extolled in verse 66. Nasti buddhirayuktasya न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चा भावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. Ashantasya kutas sukham. That is the thing that stands out. A rhetorical question. Kutaha? Where? How? How? Kutaha? Where is the happiness? Kutas sukham. Where is the happiness? How can there be happiness? For who? For the one who has no tranquility. No tranquility. So then here it's again a downward spiral, just like we saw about about a few verses ago. The downward spiral from what? From fancying an object. The downward spiral from fancying an object to being completely destroyed. So from the fancy, how the destruction ensued. Here also it says that there is a downward spiral with regard to this tranquility as well. Na asti is not there. Buddhihi. So buddhihi means here the Brahma Vidya is here. Buddhi is not one's own buddhi here. The buddhi means Brahma Vidya. So na asti buddhihi. So you can also take it as the buddhi wanting to study Brahma Vidya. If one is in the process of knowing and learning, so the buddhi that wants to study Brahma Vidya is also talked about. So so either way you can take it, and so the buddhi that is there, what is that? The buddhi is not with oneself. No knowledge. Nasti buddhihi. Knowledge is not there. Who? Ayuktaha. Who is the ayuktaha here? The non-tranquil person, the non-peaceful person. Nacha ayuktasya, for the one who doesn't have this tranquility, and bhavana na, and then we have to add asti. Again we have to borrow asti because that asti goes with all of them. So bhavana nasti. What is bhavana? A contemplative mind. There is no contemplation. No contemplative mind. You can't even sit and enjoy yourself for even 5 minutes. Not possible. That contemplation is not there for whom? For the one who is not tranquil. So for the one who is not tranquil, what all is not there? No self-knowledge, no entry to self-knowledge. Even if you get Brahmaji himself, the best of the teachers, even if you get, what happens? Nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. And in fact, the person says, Hi Brahmaji, bye Brahmaji. Nice to see you. Now I know, I can tell, I can write in my blog, I can type in my blog that I have seen the four-headed one. Who is the four-headed one? Brahmaji. And so I have seen all four heads, something to write. And the only problem is how to take a selfie with Lord Brahmaji. How to do that? Selfie how to take? Huh? Because with which head you will take? With only one head you can take a selfie at one time. So will you take 4 selfies? That doesn't sound right because each head looks the same. So even if you take 4 selfies all around, it's this thing. And then if you have a drone camera and take an aerial view of the 4 faces, you'll just get the heads, you won't get the faces. So like this, the person says that selfie, selfie, I have shelved the idea of the selfie with Lord Brahmaji, and then nonetheless the person goes away. Cannot stay, no staying power. Brahmaji becomes an object of fascination. Even if you go to some other Mahatma, even in the world, they become an object of fascination to click a pic, and then you click the pic and then you are gone. You can't sit there. And why can't one the person sit there? Because the person is incapable of sitting with oneself. Sitting with the teacher, sitting with the shastra is akin to sitting with oneself. That's why there is an shastric allergy. That is what happens. Hives come out, and so therefore the tranquil mind is everything. This is what is pointed out here further. Well, what is that? So and then there should be an ability to sit with it, and that is what sit with oneself, and that is what is called a contemplative mind. And so there is no contemplation, there is no contemplative mind. And then what happens? Then there so since there is no contemplative mind, what happens is described in the next line. Nacha abhavayatah shantihi asti. Asti again, you have to bring down. So, nacha abhavayatah. So, for the one who is not able to sit quietly, how can there be peace? You think the peace comes from somewhere else. There is no Adhi Daivika peace. There is no Adhi Bhautika peace. Peace is only Adhyatmika. Peace is only centered on you. And if you don't enjoy that, there can be no peace. And so therefore, na abhavayatah shantihi. And then ashantasya kutas sukham. How can the person having no shanti ever find happiness? See, we think that tranquility and happiness are two different things. That's why people say, I don't want shanti, I want happiness. Seldom they understand that happiness and shanti are interchangeable. In fact, the inner shanti is a latent happiness that comes out as in a dynamic form in the form of sukha, etc. So that shanti is the backdrop for the sukha that is expressed, that is sensed, that is enjoyed. And if we don't understand the connections between these two, then the person, the happiness always eludes the person. That is the idea. The happiness eludes the person. So this is a praise verse for the prasannata. So ayukta means the one who is not cheerful, whose dveshas are not managed, etc. And then this is not a judgment. Like, oh, I can never have shanti. I can never have shanti. So, the best one can hope for in such a situation is to marry somebody called Shanti. That's all. Well, my own Shanti I can never have. Well, the one can lament. One can lament. But here, it's not about getting hopeless. You see, the Shastra is not trying to cut you down or judge you here. The Shastra always encourages. But sometimes we look at the Shastra from a subjective stance and says, oh, the Shastra is telling me, it's telling me that I don't have Shanti. Even if that were true, even if one doesn't have Shanti, you can cultivate. We have seen how to do that. Just take care of the Raga Dvesha, Shanti automatically is there. That is exactly the situation. No other thing here. Take care of the Raga Dvesha, Shanti comes. And so here the Shastra is not trying to judge. The Shastra is trying to encourage and praise the Shanti, not cut down somebody who is Ashanta. And then so the point is not to come up with the tendency to I am useless, I can never take care of ragadveshas, etc. So as I said, the word buddhi here means self-knowledge, Brahma Vidya, the means by which you understand the Atma. So when there is ragadveshas, they cloud the heart, and even being exposed to the knowledge, one does not really, it does not really stay. One is not able to stay with that. And then, but then, is anything wrong with ragadveshas? Not really. But you have to make sure that you are handling them. and they are not handling you. That is the big difference. More we shall see next week. Good morning, good night, wherever you are. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Yugandhar, I'm seeing after a long time. Welcome back. Nice. Very nice. Om.
Thank you so much.